Any plans for this evening? Perhaps a game night?
Game over, man. It's game over.
Shut up. Play the game. Play it from your heart.
26 years ago, we started playing a little game. Now, we're all gonna sit down. We're gonna finish it.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
And here we go.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dice Camera Action, a podcast where we discuss board games every episode, and then we tag on a movie review that ties into the theme of our main board game review. That's a typical episode, but today we've got a little change in the format. We got a bit of a special episode in store because Matt just came back from Nerdfest. A little convention that he's been going to the last few years, and you brought a special guest with you this year, Matt. Some of our regular listeners might be a little bit confused because we pre-recorded a while ago, close to a year ago, we pre-recorded an episode.
Yeah, it would have been a year ago.
Nerdfest last time, and we just put that one in the can for a while, and we just dropped it recently. So no, Nerdfest doesn't happen every month. It happens once a year at the end of March, and here we are. You're fresh off Nerdfest 2025. So we're going to spend some time, the majority of this episode, I'm going to kind of host an interview and get your thoughts on Nerdfest, your experience there compared to previous years, how it was with your son Charlie attending with you this year, and a whole bunch of board games that we can rip through that you played. And I'm guessing a few that you brought back with you. So, but before we get there, as we typically do, we're going to give some shout outs, what we've been watching. We're not going to do a full movie review this episode tagged onto the end episode, but we'll just quickly shout out a couple things that we've been watching as we typically do, and then we'll spend the majority of our time today just nerding out. Let's talk about Nerdfest. So Matt, I'm excited to hear about Nerdfest, but before we get there, what have you been watching lately?
Yeah, so couple movies that have stood out to me recently that I want to recommend. One being a movie that you recommended to me. It's a Canadian-made movie called The King Tide, and you talked about it briefly, a handful of episodes ago. And I just checked it out last week, I want to say, and I really, really dug it. The kind of tone of this movie kind of is exactly the kind of movie that I love.
I knew you'd love
so
this one.
Yeah, it was great. It may have ended up on my top 10 of last year, and I hadn't really thought about it until literally just this moment. So maybe it would definitely be in my honorable mentions. It was
in my honorable mention, my 11 through 15. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it would be somewhere in that range. Really, really dug it. I guess we could talk about really quickly. The synopsis is that it's based at a small island. And I think I've mentioned this before, but I love movies that have a secluded location.
It's kind of Midnight Mass, right? But less intense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Midnight Mass, The Thing, handful of movies.
The Lighthouse.
TV series. The Lighthouse. Yeah, I just love a good single. It's not a single location, but it's secluded, right? Yeah. In a way that like outside forces don't interfere. There's nowhere that a person could just run to or run away from the situation, and that just creates a kind of a situation that it just feels more tense. It adds a layer of tension, and it makes the whole thing feel more claustrophobic in a way as well. But basically, at the beginning of this movie, you can kind of see that the folks on this island are kind of struggling. They're having a hard time getting by. It's kind of small fishing island off the coast of Newfoundland or the east coast of Canada. I'm not sure it's mentioned, but
no, it's not.
You get those vibes.
It's filmed in Nova Scotia, I think. Yeah,
right. And then, all of a sudden these folks are just going about their daily business and they could hear a baby crying in the distance. So they go towards the sound and they find a boat that had crashed on the shore. And so they go up to this boat. There's nobody in sight. The boat's flipped upside down. So one of the guys kind of dives into the water, goes underneath the water into the boat and finds a baby. So pulls the baby out. In doing so, kind of scrapes the side of his rib cage or something, and kind of a pretty good gash. And then he goes up to the shore and he's holding the baby, and then I think another character maybe like notices it and says, "Oh, are you okay?" or something, and then in real time and over the course of like 5 seconds, the wound heals completely and goes away. And then everybody kind of looks at each other, and then you kind of fade to black, and it's like
12 years later or something, isn't
12,
it? Or,
10 or 12 years later or something like that. So essentially this community has then closed itself off from the rest of humanity. They've decided to like completely cut themselves off technologically in every way.
Yeah,
from the mainland, right, and from the rest of humanity, and they figure they can just kind of like live off the land and do their own thing. I don't want to go too much more into the plot, but needless to say, they have this really special girl on the island. And
the baby now a young girl,
preteen,
right?
Who basically heals people and helps people feel better. And there's some people on the island who had Alzheimer's that we saw at the beginning of, or dementia at the beginning of the movie. That you cut to 10 years later and the person looks younger and healthier and is kind of like healed. So obviously everybody has a huge debt to pay to Isla, the name of the little girl. And, really
Isla.
Interesting stuff ensues in trying to keep this a secret. And, some people have, their own, I don't want to use the word ambitions, but their own kind of like,
there's different motives
concerns. Different motives for sure. The thing that I found really, really interesting about this film, this last thing I'll say, is that there was not really an antagonist. There's not really a bad guy in this movie. People do things that are not great necessarily for everybody involved, and people make decisions, but it feels like everybody's justified, and you can look at everybody's situation and be like, I get it. I get why that person's doing that or making that decision or saying that thing. You kind of understand everybody's motives. And so it's just a really tough situation for a lot of the people on the island. And I thought that was a really interesting kind of angle to take, because you could easily see this, becoming a movie where the more powerful people want to like steal her and profit, and take her to the mainland, or there's like the government officials are coming in trying to steal the kid. Like, it doesn't go the way that you would expect it if you heard kind of the general plot. That's kind of all I have to say without spoiling it, but definitely recommend it. It's a fascinating film, and
it's a good sort of atmospheric sort of thriller. Wouldn't even call it really a horror, although it gets a little more intense.
Definitely not a horror.
Near the end of the movie, there's some more intense scenes, but I agree with you. That secluded location gives it a good sort of atmosphere and vibe, almost like this claustrophobic feeling to it. And it really does. There's some interesting characters. It does a good job developing some of the main characters and getting to understand their motives. And there really is no one you're really rooting for, rooting against per se, but I see it as kind of a metaphor or a parable, like using myth, and myth is great. It transcends any one time and place. It has a lot to say about power and how we want to preserve and protect the things that might benefit someone else, and make sure that we only get the benefits from it. In this case, the healing power of Isla. So it's a good film. I'm glad you got to it. I knew you'd appreciate this one. So glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks for recommending that one. Is really good. What have you checked out lately?
Yeah, so I'm going to shout out what I think is the best movie of 2025 so far. I haven't seen too many, but and I think a lot of the critics and reviews I've been saying are agreeing with that sentiment. It's the latest Steven Soderbergh film. He's banging them out. He's got 2 that just came out. Have you seen Presence yet?
Didn't he, quote unquote, retire a handful of years ago?
He took a little break.
Yeah.
Well, the lead actor in this movie did, Michael Fassbender.
Did he say he retired?
Michael Fassbender retired and went into F1 racing for a season. He took like a few years off. And
I didn't even know that.
yeah. But he's back with a vengeance. But this movie's called Black Bag, and it released a few weeks ago. And it's already, I think it's coming out on VOD like tomorrow. We're recording this on March 31st. I think April 1st. No April Fool's joke. It's coming out on VOD. So if you missed it in theaters, you'd be happy to see it. It's tight. It's lean. This is like 90 minutes. It's a spy thriller. It stars, like I said, Michael Fassbender, and his wife in the film is Kate Blanchett. I mean, those are two of my favorites in the business right now. And they play. So Michael Fassbender plays an intelligence agent by the name of George Woodhouse, and basic plot is he's tasked with finding a mole within his agency. This is sort of British intelligence, MI5 or MI6. Forget which is domestic and which one's international, but there's a mole he finds out. You see this in the trailer. You see this right early in the film. And, the National Cybersecurity Center is alerted that there's a mole. There's a dangerous cyber weapon called Severus that's leaked, which could do some major damage. And he gets a short list of people who are the suspects. And lo and behold, his wife, Kate Blanchett's character, his wife Catherine, becomes one of the suspects. And they've got a really solid marriage, even though they're both spies. You see early on that he's cooking these lavish meals for her. They have a really good relationship. Seems like their marriage is really tight and solid. So it's like, oh, what's going to happen here? Is she the mole? Is she not? How is he going to find out? He gets not only her name.
So it's a Mr. and Mrs. Smith remake. Is what you're saying.
It's much better than Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Much better.
I hope so.
Oh yeah, no, this is solid. Don't disrespect Soderbergh like that. Yeah. This Severus is just a MacGuffin though. It's just kind of like the rabbit's foot in one of the Mission Impossible movies.
Sure, yeah.
It's just to serve the purpose of the story. But he gets these lists, and they have this like lavish dinner party. So some of their coworkers that they work with are on this list. So they just invite them all over for dinner. The wife doesn't know that he's suspecting possibly her, but they invite all the coworkers over for dinner. They have this dinner party, and they slip some like truth serum into some of the food or drink. And then they play a little game around the table, and he's just trying to deduce who's maybe looking guilty, who's not. It's just hilarious. It's so good.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Like it's kind of episodic. There's a scene like that. There's other great actors in this, like Pierce Brosnan's in this. He's sort of the leader of the agency.
It's great meta casting there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Being an ex-Bond. Yeah.
Tom Burke, who was Anna Taylor-Joy's sidekick in Furiosa there, driving the big rig. Yeah, I like he's him. Awesome in this too. He's so good. So it's great that the writing is so smart in this. It's tight, like I said, 90 minutes. There's no fat on the bone. It's lean and mean, and it's just a loaded cast. It's a spy movie, but I don't go to Hollywood looking for marital wisdom and advice. But there's some pretty awesome things to say about marriage in this film as well, as sort of an undercurrent. And Fassbender's great. Blanchett's phenomenal.
I mean,
I don't want to spoil
those
too
are
much
two
more.
Legends, right? I mean, they're not done working, but they're already legends.
When I say spy movie, don't think Mission Impossible. This is not like action packed. There are some action scenes, but it's more about the performances and the writing. The screenplay is phenomenal. So this is it seems every year there's a movie that comes out in the first 3 months. I'm like, I could hang on to be on my year list. Well, last year I had 2 with Dune and Challengers, and this year this one. I'm going to go on record right now saying I'd be surprised if this doesn't hang on to be in my top 10 at the end of the year. I think it's that good.
Awesome.
So,
first time I heard about this movie and saw the trailer, I was immediately excited. It looks awesome, and I'm if it's hitting VOD tomorrow,
give it a look.
I'll probably watch it in the next couple of days for sure.
Cool.
Leanne and I went to see Mickey 17, which we won't get into because at some point in the next couple of episodes we'll likely do a full review on it. But we debated maybe going to see Black Bag, but
actually, you should have. I will say this: Black Bag is like probably the best date night movie I've seen in years.
Yeah,
like, this is definitely husband and wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. Like totally appropriate, perfect given the themes. So watch this
Mickey
one.
17, maybe not as much.
Not as much.
Date night movie. Cool. So Black Bag, Steven Soderbergh's latest. Looking forward to checking that out. My second movie that I want to talk about before we get into Nerdfest and everything else was Grand Theft Hamlet is one that I watched recently.
Yeah, I'm keen on seeing this one soon. So
this one I want to recommend to anybody who plays video games, and specifically if you played GTA 5, this is, and you enjoy, you enjoy movies, which, you know, if you're listening to this podcast, you'll likely into that. But if you're also into video games and specifically GTA 5, I wholeheartedly recommend this movie. If you don't really fully understand the intricacies of GTA 5, or at least video gaming in general, like online video gaming, maybe this isn't quite for you, but it might still be worth checking out. It's not long either. I want to say it's right around the same time, hour 20, hour and a half. But basically what it is that these two theater actors, I believe they're British, during the pandemic have nothing to do. They can't work. They're not working. So they're at home playing video games. And so they're at home playing video games as they normally do, and they're messing around in GTA 5. And for those who don't know, again, GTA 5 is based in Los Angeles. It's called Vice City? Is that right?
I think so.
No, Los Santos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Los Santos. Okay, so they, so it's based in LA. Basically, the whole city, everywhere you can drive around and mess around in Grand Theft Auto 5, looks like and feels like Los Angeles. But they just changed the name of all the stuff. So they're messing around, driving around, shooting each other, doing what you do in Grand Theft Auto 5, and they end up in the Hollywood Bowl, which I think is called the Los Santos Bowl in the game. And the Hollywood Bowl is basically just this huge outdoor theater venue. So if you picture, it's just like this concrete structure with a stage, and then all this seating. It's an outdoor theater venue. And because these guys are theater actors, one of them jumps up on stage and on a lark and just as sort of a joke does a Hamlet or at least a Shakespeare monologue of some kind. And kind of like gets right into it, you know, because they are theater actors. And, you know, they have a quick laugh about it. And then one of them says, you know, it'd be fun to put on an actual stage production like of a Shakespeare, you know, maybe Hamlet or something on this stage in GTA 5. What else have they have to do, right? They're sitting at home during the pandemic. And so they decide to do it. They're like, let's do it. And so this movie is entirely in GTA 5, and it's all just people, mostly the two of them, as well as a third person who I believe is one of their wives or girlfriends, who is a filmmaker. Maybe a documentary filmmaker, a short filmmaker. And so she basically acts as the camera and records everything that they do. And then the two of them are going around GTA 5 trying to recruit people, holding auditions. They put out, I think they may have put out ads online. Anyways, they find ways to like get people to audition. And once they do have their troupe of theater actors, they go around in GTA 5 rehearsing and doing all kinds of things. And this is a documentary about the making of the production of Hamlet within GTA 5 fully online. So the entire movie is in GTA 5. We don't see an actual person. I think until maybe the very end, they have like a, you know, maybe a 2-minute thing where you actually get out of GTA 5. But yeah, really, really fascinating and low key hilarious. Like if you've ever played, have you ever played GTA 5 online, Jason? You don't strike me as one who has.
I've played older versions of GTA, but not.
Okay, and have you played online?
Yes, a little bit.
A little bit. Okay. So yeah, if you've played any of these games online, like you're running around and there's just like, like there's a bunch of people like just like driving by and shooting you and bombing you. And like, you're just messing around killing people.
It's mass chaos.
It's mass chaos. So they're trying to rehearse and recruit and do auditions and do stuff. And they're constantly getting shot and killed and run over. And like all these things are happening. So it's
not a remake of Free Guy. Tell me it's better than Free Guy.
It's better than Free Guy for sure.
Okay.
I had fun with Free Guy just because I didn't love it by any means, but his name escapes me now.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, sorry. It's been, I literally got back from Nerdfest, the 8-hour drive today, after a long weekend of staying up late and gaming and getting up early with the kids. So it's like, I'm toast right now, but, yeah. So Ryan Reynolds, he's just charismatic and fun. And like, I didn't like the movie, but you know, you could do worse if you just want to throw something on and have a couple of chuckles. Anyways, yeah,
Grand
definitely
Theft
way,
Hamlet.
way better than that. Grand Theft Hamlet is hilarious and a lot of fun, and especially if you've played GTA 5 online, you're really gonna you're gonna dig this. And yeah, and especially if you have a passing interest in theater or Shakespeare as well, that helps. But you know, there's the one scene sticks out, and I laughed out. I'm alone in the basement watching this movie, and I laughed out loud. Basically, they invite a dude who's they found online who showed a little bit of interest in maybe joining their theater troupe, and they're not fussy at this point. They're just allowing anybody who wants to do it to kind of hang out and help or be an actor or whatever. And so this dude comes up to their apartment. I guess you can have an apartment in GTA 5. And he's like, yeah, I just want to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to do. And then so the two of them do not long, but a 2 or 3 minute scene from Hamlet. And then they finish and there's a moment of an awkward pause. And then the person disappears. They just logged off. They didn't say a word. Didn't say a word. Didn't say good job. Nothing. Just logged off. They're like, what the hell are these guys doing? Right. So that's just one moment. And it's a blast. That's At one point they had while they're rehearsing, they basically hired a person to be a hired gun and defend the zone where they're rehearsing. So this person is flying in a hovercraft of some kind with weapons. And anytime anybody comes near, they're just trying to shoot them. So they're rehearsing, doing these serious Hamlet. And in the background, you just hear pow, 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 all these explosions. And it's just hilarious. It's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend.
Fire this one up with my son. He likes his online gaming. So we might get a kick out of this.
Yeah, definitely. Grand Theft Hamlet.
On some of the new ones.
It's available on Mubi right now.
Playing on Mubi, MUBI, which is a more artistic art house streaming service. Cool. It's interesting how things work out. Normally we see the show notes and share with each other, but this was kind of you getting back from Nerdfest. Let's record right away. So I didn't know what you're going to talk about, but my next shout out also involves Shakespeare and theater troupe. And it's a movie that I mentioned last year in my year list, but I just rewatched it. Sing Sing. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sing Sing.
Still haven't seen that one yet.
No. Sing Sing's great. And the reason I just watched it was because I'm doing something on Sunday nights. Most of our listeners know that, my day job, I'm a pastor of a church. And so in the season leading up to Easter, what I've been doing the last few years is something called Movies for Lent. And so once a week, we'll try and it's kind of like a mashup idea as well. We'll pair a movie with sort of the theme of the week leading into Easter, and I'll get people online. We'll have an online meetup. They watch the movie, then we get online and discuss it together. And this past couple nights ago or last night actually, was our discussion of Sing Sing. So Sing Sing's a movie that features Shakespeare, but takes place in Sing Sing prison, maximum security prison. But there's this rehabilitation program through the arts, through theater arts, that some of the inmates participate in and try and find some dignity, some healing, some restoration, some reconciliation, just recover their humanity that sometimes is taken away from them. Yes, most of them have done the crime and they're doing the time, but as we know in prison systems, a lot of the inmates are, they're trying to turn their life around, but they're getting treated pretty inhumanely. And so the lead actor is Coleman Domingo, but every other actor in this film is a non-professional actor. And most of them are playing themselves. They are former inmates at Sing Sing who are part of this rehabilitation program through the arts. And so, Hamlet plays a role, but these gentlemen, you get to know them, they're meeting and they're rehearsing together. And there's someone comes in to volunteer. His name is Brent, played by Paul Raci. If anyone's seen The Sound of Metal, similar role in that film. But he comes around, they get together, and Coleman Domingo's character is kind of the one who started this sort of program. And he writes some of the scripts for their plays, but they recruit this new character to join them, played by Clarence Macklin, who unfortunately didn't get nominated for an Oscar, but him and Coleman Domingo have some tension at first, different personas, but they grow to respect and love each other throughout the film. And they end up doing this like wild sort of play, like Grand Theft Hamlet style, where it's like this comedy, but they've got pirates and time travel and Shakespeare and Freddy Krueger and all the mummies and zombies and all this sort of mashup. And the guy comes after they sort of brainstorm it together as a group. The guy says, all right, I can put this together. He comes back like within a week or two. He's like, all right, here's your script. It's like this thick, like 200-page screenplay for this. And you see them rehearsing. So some of the scenes are them rehearsing this and having some fun with it. Some of the scenes are just, the difficulties and challenges of living in prison. And you get to know some of these characters and a bit of their backstory. And meanwhile, Coleman Domingo's, he's helping mentor some of these young inmates, but he's trying to get up for parole himself and get out, similar to Morgan Freeman's character in Shawshank Redemption. There's a little bit of parallel there, but it's a beautiful film that it just shows the power of art and rehabilitation through art, and just the power of vulnerability among men, which you don't see too often in films. I thought it's a pretty special film. It was in my top 5,
especially in prison films.
Yeah. It's interesting that we're both talking about movies that involve theater troops and Hamlet tonight, but that's Sing Sing, and it is available widely now. It's streaming on Amazon Prime Video, so if you think that might be something of interest, check it out. Very
cool. Yeah, it's on my short list of movies. I didn't get a chance to check out last year.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, so that's a little bit about what we've been watching, but as per usual, we're going to spend the majority of the podcast talking about some gaming. This is primarily a gaming pod, and Matt, I'm just going to let you cook for a little bit. I'm just going to tee it up for you and let us know about Nerdfest. This is your fourth Nerdfest?
Third Nerdfest, yeah.
Third Nerdfest, and Nerdfest takes place in Detroit, Michigan, correct?
That's right.
Suburbs of Detroit or some, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Novi, Michigan is where it took place this time around. They moved venues, so they kind of grew out of their original venue. The first venue was kind of it was a hall, I guess, but it was not a huge venue. They had an upstairs and a downstairs, and last year they had outgrown just using the upstairs, so they had to use the downstairs for all of the events.
That's a nice problem to have. They're growing,
events. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it felt a little segregated in a way, right? Like you're looking for somebody, or you want to join a table or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's downstairs, and it just didn't feel as cohesive as like one space would, right? And in a typical convention,
right. So why don't we start here? Like you mentioned, they. Who are they that are putting on Nerdfest, in case others haven't heard our other Nerdfest episode? Who are they? How did Nerdfest start? What got you hooked? And how did this year's Nerdfest compare to Nerdfest in years past? Maybe we'll start there, and then we'll get into specific games you played.
Yeah, so Nerdfest is a very small convention. This was their biggest one. I want to say they were he shared some numbers, but I want to say it was north of 300 people this time. So this is the third Nerdfest, put on by the Gamecasters podcast host.
Gamecasters?
Gamecasters, one of my favorite podcasts. They are kind of a comedy board gaming podcast. Definitely not for the faint of heart. If you're easily offended, or you don't want to get into any like fart jokes or sex jokes or that kind of stuff. But yeah, so Ryan, Natalie, and Jeff are the three hosts of the Gamecasters podcast. Not only are they hilarious and fun, but they're also, great people. They're very intelligent board gamers and do a great job discussing and reviewing board games as well. So I at some point in the last, I want to say 5 years, I discovered their podcast, loved it. Joined their Discord server and have become part of the online community, Gamecasters community. And since then have become really good friends, as you do sometimes online in these online communities, with a whole bunch of people. So 3 years ago, they launched a Nerdfest, which was this like small convention. They'd rented out this little hall, and it was a free event. So you could just show up and play games. And so I decided to go just because I never met these people that I'd been conversing with online and become sort of friends with the way that you do again online with these people that don't have faces, and they have personalities and they have like online names, right? Like Swoozle and Plurpy and Michiana Borgamery and like all of these weird names, right? And I'm Dice Camera Action, like that's my username. So you get to know these people, and so I went and got
some faces to the names,
put some faces to names, and and since then, and I've gone to PAX Unplugged, I've gone to Breakout Con in Toronto a couple of times. I've gone to Gen Con.
Big one.
I've gone to a handful of other conventions. So I want to say that I've seen different portions of this group probably 7, 8, 9 times now. I've spent a weekend with them. So they've become like true, real life friends. And to be honest, some of my best friends that I talk to almost on a daily basis. So,
nice.
So Ryan, Natalie, and Jeff are the folks that put on this podcast, and they decided to put on this Nerdfest, and this is now as I said, the third one. This one was in Novi, Michigan, at a Sheridan hotel and convention center.
Nice.
So they had like more of a proper or conventional convention venue for this year's edition of Nerdfest, and
this one was extra special because you brought your son Charlie, right? This is the first time he attended with you. How was that experience for you and him together? That must have been special.
It was great. Outside of like being trapped in a car with an 8-year-old for an 8-hour drive there and an 8-hour drive back, it was fantastic. It was great. Again, the people in this community are amazing. A ton of them interacted with Charlie or hung out with Charlie while I was playing other games or whatever. He was going around playing games with different people and different groups and other kids and whatever, and everybody was amazing. But yeah, so I became really good friends with a few people in particular, Shelly and Lance Carter, who are a couple, and they have a young girl the same age as Charlie named Franny. And then Plurpy, or Steve, his real name, has a boy, again, Charlie's age, who his name's actually Charlie as well. Oh, so we decided, like, let's get an Airbnb, and the 3 families can kind of like have a place to go.
Have the kids together to hang out too.
With little kids. It's tougher at a hotel, right? Or if we stayed at the hotel. So we decided to get together and get an Airbnb, which was great because we were able to go back a little bit earlier than maybe we normally would, put the kids to bed, and then the 4 of us could still game, and into the night and not worry about where kids are and whatnot.
No, that's perfect.
So, yeah, it was great. It was amazing.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get into it. What'd you play? Why don't you give us your list there? Do you have like a top 10 list, or you just shout titles out, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, I basically wrote a list of every game that I played. Yeah, so there's 14 games that I played. A handful of these I've already talked about on the pod, so we're going to kind of glaze over them here. But I played River Valley Glassworks was the first game that I played. I picked it up off the shelf. I knew it was like a fairly simple, really cutesy game that Charlie would like. For Charlie. Yeah, good one for Charlie. So basically it's like a river with like see-through tiles on the river that they can slide up and down the river, and there's all these like little pebbles, different shaped pebbles and colors, and these, I guess they're meant to be pieces of glass, but anyways, you kind of put them out onto these pieces of glass, and there's a drafting mechanism that I won't go too much into, and then you have a personal player board that has like a grid of where you can place these pebbles as you draft them, and you place them by shape and color, and then based on how many of each shape and color on your board that you're placing, it'll multiply and score at the end of the game, kind of thing.
Right.
So it's not anything super new or innovative, but it's very
Sagrada-like, or
yes, a little bit of Sagrada-like, but essentially like each column is a color.
Okay.
So every time you draft a thing of a certain color, you put it in that column.
Sure.
And then if you overdraft and there's no room for it, then it goes in your like overspend area or whatever, and then that's negative points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful about how much you're drafting of each thing.
Kind of like a
then,
Zool, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a rarity to each of the colors and shapes too. So if you see one that you really need to slot in a certain spot to like get your multipliers, you go for it. But then maybe that makes you overdraft on another color because you have to take all of the pebbles from that one area.
Okay. 2 to 4 player? What is this? It's a 2 to 4 player?
I think it's 2 to 4, maybe 5, something like that. Yeah. It played fine at 2. So I imagine it scales well. It played in like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe, because I had to learn it and check it out too. But it's beautiful. That's like the number one thing for me is it's gorgeous.
Good table presence and, just a light puzzly game. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and shout out to Matt Riddle, who's one of the designers of this. He was at the convention.
Oh, nice.
Super nice guy. He's one of the guys from the team that designed the Motor City GameWorks game. So the I think it's called the Roll and Write. What is it called? The Roll and Write trilogy or something. Anyways, Fleet the Dice game, Three Sisters, Motor City, and the French Quarter is their latest one. So they're all Roll and Writes that have a similar dice drafting mechanism.
Cool.
So he was there. Fleet the Dice game is one of Charlie's favorite games. So I took him over and introduced him to Matt Riddle. Super nice guy.
Sweet.
He's been at every Nerdfest too, and I've had a chance to interact with him multiple times. And great guy. We went back to we played Far Away, which we've talked about extensively on the pod, so we won't get into that. But we played a couple games of that, and then we played that day, the first day, Thunder Road Vendetta: Carnival of Chaos.
Yeah, there you go.
So Thunder Road Vendetta is like a racing game with dice chucking. Basically, it's Mad Max Fury Road, the board game.
Right.
Is kind of the best way to put it. You have
coming soon to an episode here on Dice
Camera. Yeah, it's one that we've had on our short list. We're gonna do it for sure at some point. Yeah. We're both big Mad Max fans. And this game's
a good
super
summer
fun,
one,
so.
I think.
Yeah, maybe. We played Thunder Road Vendetta. The Carnival of Chaos expansion basically turns the game into like a battle royale. So there's this like huge area of like hexes, and you're driving around, and we played 5 players, and each person has 3 vehicles. So there are and one of those people are playing the motorcycles, which has 5 vehicles. So there's like, I don't know the math there, but there's 15 or between 15 and 20 vehicles on this board running around, shooting at each other, crashing into each other. It's called the Carnival of Chaos, and it's just the perfect title. Yeah. You can pick up these weapons and shoot missiles and drop bombs and do all kinds of silly stuff. It is chaos, but it is chaos in the best way. It's a game that, like, if you're super worried about like strategy and winning, don't play it. If you just want to go in and have a great experience and have a good laugh, it's super fun. Played that. Then we went back to the hotel and put the kids to bed, and then we played a couple of trick-taking games with the adults. So Nikosu Dice, I might have talked about on the podcast before, but it's my favorite trick-taking game. It involves drafting dice, and basically there's cards, 4 suits, kind of standard trick-taking must follow. The hook of this one is that there's also dice, and all the dice have all the same colors as the cards. And so you roll all the dice into the middle of the table, you draft them, and then those dice are cards. So your cards and your dice. So some of your cards are visible and public information, whereas your cards are obviously not. And then you never play your last die. So the last die that you have, you cannot play it. It stays there. And that becomes your bid for how many tricks you're going to take, to take. So you want to set it up just so that the last die that you do not play has the number on it of the tricks that you won for that round.
For that round, yeah.
So it's like a moving target. Yes. Yep. Yeah, really, really tough game. Yeah. I call it a heavy...
games most trick taking games you shout out that at the beginning. I think I'm going to take this many.
That's right. That's
like
right.
A wizard or something. With this one, it's as you're coming down the home stretch, you're like, oh, I got to keep that number because I'm going to be close to that number.
Yeah. And sometimes you can see, right? Like that person has taken 4 tricks and they have a 3 and a 4 left.
Yeah. So they're not going to take any more.
And the 3 is blue.
Yeah.
And the 4 is red. So you lead with a red card. And if they don't have any red in their hand, they have to play that red die, leaving them with the 3.
Right.
So then they miss their
pushing
bid.
them over the edge, right? Yeah,
exactly. So they miss their bid because you led a certain color. So
you got to keep an eye not only on yourself, but everybody else around the table very closely.
So I call it a heavy trick-taking game because you are constantly, like, the gears are grinding, trying to decide what card to play and how to attack this thing. And it's my favorite trick-taking game. Not one for the faint of heart. If you're not into trick-taking games, you're gonna get destroyed. You have to kind of know what you're doing.
Love trick-taking games.
Speaking of trick-taking games, we also played Boast or Nothing, which I think is not available anywhere.
I haven't played this one.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
You have not. Okay.
I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, really, really neat. Super simple trick-taking game. Standard must follow. There's 3 suits only, and there are 3 discs that sit on the table, stacked one on top of the other, one of each color for the suits. And then the top suit is the trump. And then as soon as a trump, every time a trick wins, whatever suit that won that trick becomes the new trump. So the trump is changing from trick to trick. So you have to kind of really keep track of, like, if I lead with this and win, that changes the trump. So what am I going to play next, and how does that work into it? And the other twist is that you want 0 tricks. If you get 0 tricks, you get 2 points. And it's a race to 5 points, I think. So if you get 0 tricks, you get 2 points. But if you get 1 trick, you get no points. But if you get 2 tricks, you get 1 point. So you're trying to get 0, but then if you fail getting 0
at the end, you get nothing, right?
That's right. But if you fail getting 0, if you fail getting 0, then you're pushing for 2.
Right, exactly.
So it's really interesting, and
Which
it's
must
one
suck
where
if you take that last trick and your only trick, you're like,
exactly, yeah. So that's a really fun one.
Much more simple.
So let's keep it in the trick-taking zone right now. The next day, I got to play the Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game. Have you heard of this one?
I've heard good things about it. Yeah, I haven't played it, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, so it's sort of a campaign trick-taking game. Basically, it's a lot like The Crew. But it's themed like Lord of the Rings. So you do
Lord of the Rings making a
1.
comeback, with games. There's a lot.
Yeah, tons of them. Yeah,
the Seven Wonders Duel reskin with that theme. Like, it seems like it's making a cultural comeback. Yeah,
it is.
How was this one? This the first time you played this, or
I played through. I want to say 4 or 5 chapters. So played for maybe like 45 minutes, played through a handful of chapters, and it's really cool. Basically, really quickly, again, there's a lot of standard trick-taking stuff here, must follow. But at the beginning of each round, you are dealt all of the cards out to the players, and then whoever has one of the suits is called the rings, or the ring suit. And whoever has the one ring, then a one of rings,
sure,
has to be
one
Frodo.
ring to rule them all. Yeah,
that's right. So there's a bunch of characters on the board, depending on which chapter you're playing. And in the beginning, there's only 2 or 3 or 4 characters to choose from. But whoever has the one ring has to be Frodo. So they reach across the table, they grab Frodo, and Frodo's mission is always to win X amount of ring cards in their tricks. And depending on which chapter you're in and how many players you are, that changes a bit. But Frodo's goal is always to win ring cards. And the one ring, the number 1 of rings, is the only trump card. So you can cut with the 1 of rings. but it's a must-follow trick-taking game, and the ring cards cannot be played until that happens, until somebody cuts with a ring card. Right. So there's like some shifting around and decision-making to do there for sure. And then what happens is that we figure out who Frodo is, and then in turn order from there, everybody drafts a character, and each character has a different goal that they have to accomplish, and you'll choose a character based on the hand of cards you have. So if you need to win a bunch of green cards and Galadriel says you have to win X amount of green cards, and you have a handful of those, you're going to draft Galadriel. So you draft characters, and then everybody tries to achieve them, and which characters and the missions that everybody has is public information. So it's a team cooperative trick-taking game where the missions get harder and harder and harder. So basically, it's a very
each chapter is a different mission that gets progressively more difficult.
That's right.
Do the results in the previous chapter carry forward into each chapter, or each chapter stand alone?
Each chapter, I believe, stands alone. Yeah.
So
but they are like
it rolls over. Okay.
Yeah, and they are in like tuck boxes within the thing that are like sealed. So it's kind of a campaign-y in that way too, that you don't really know what's coming up until you get there.
It's not like a legacy game; it's replayable.
No, it's exactly. It's very replayable. Okay. You could like actually somebody came by after we were starting the 4th chapter, and they just jumped in, and we just kept going. Cool. Slight rule changes with like how many of things you have to take and whatever, but yeah.
How many chapters are there? Do you recall how many chapters there are?
18 chapters. And my friend Plurpy said it took him, he wants to say 10-ish hours to get through them all. Cool. So there's a lot of game there. And so there's a lot of game there, and it's replayable, right? So you could always restart with a different group or whatever. I'm looking at it now, 1 to 4 players. So I guess there's a solo 4, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's definitely one.
So it's basically a very
in.
carefully curated missions of like the crew, but very thematic. So especially if you're into Lord of the Rings, this is going to be a hit for sure.
And this is widely available, right?
Yeah. I picked it up at the local game store here.
Nice. Cool.
So that night we went back and we played The Great Zimbabwe. Have you heard of this one?
Heard of it. Haven't played it.
Yeah. So it is a splatter game. That I did not enjoy.
Okay.
I didn't hate it. Like, it's just like, I didn't.
Splatter games can be hit and miss, right?
I didn't get it. Like, it's basically just a grid, and you can build things onto the grid, and then I honestly, I'm not even sure I could explain it, but like, it's just very abstracted. And what you have to do is fairly complicated and convoluted. And the fact that it's so abstracted, the theme is so abstracted, like it's difficult to keep track of what's going on the board. And like Lance and Shelley and Plurpy, who it was his game and he knew it fairly well. Lance picked it up right away and was doing great, and I believe won the game. So it's not to say that if you can't just pick this up and play it, but I couldn't. I would need to like sit down and play it a couple more times really before I fully grokked what was going on. I just like went for the few things that I did understand how they worked, and I tried to like form a strategy around that.
Yeah.
But I think just the way my brain works, I need a little bit of theme in there to help me if it's a more complex, heavier game, right? A little bit of theme in there to help guide you. It is, yeah.
I remember when this came out. It's not a new game. This is like at least 10 years old, 10 or 15 years old, I'm pretty sure.
No, yeah.
I remember when it came out, it kind of intrigued me, but I never got to the table. One of my friends had it back in the day.
It's very clearly
totally about it.
Yeah. It's very clearly a very well-designed game. And if you're into what it's doing, I'm sure it has its audience and people love it. I think it just wasn't for me. I just wasn't picking it up well enough, and the fact that the theme did not come through for me. A lot of times the theme will kind of guide you a little bit, right? Sure. And this did none of that for me. Everything, all the cards and all the things, it was all just gray and beige. So I was just having a really hard time keeping track of what was going on.
Yeah, well, welcome. Yeah. Welcome to Splatter.
Yeah, so that's the Great Zimbabwe. Like I would say, check out the mechanisms. Maybe watch a couple of videos. If it seems like it's for you, like I said, it's clearly a very well designed game.
Yeah, it's in the top 400 on
really
BGG,
well.
so it's got a following for sure. Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Cool.
Cool. I played a game of Dracula versus Van Helsing. We talked about that obviously on the pod last, so we're not going to get into that. Yeah. Loving that game. But I taught it to Shelly. She wanted to possibly pick it up to play it with Franny, her little girl.
Okay.
And because I had mentioned that I'd played it with a few times with Charlie, who really likes it too. So yeah, taught it to Shelly, played it. A rare occasion where like one person destroys the other. So like, Shelly did not do too well.
On the receiving end.
She was on the receiving end, like kind of like last time when you and I played. You beat me up pretty good. But yeah, I want to say I've played that game maybe 10 times now, and
it's usually pretty tight.
Usually pretty tight, yeah. Played Moon Colony Bloodbath. It's a newer, hotter game. Have you heard of this one?
I have not.
Yeah, it's weird, but pretty cool. Essentially, it's a tableau builder, and you have X amount of food, X amount of money, and X amount of population. And basically, we're all building a colony on the moon. And it is a game where I remember calling it's a rope-a-dope game. Because you're constantly building things up and then getting like swung at and punched at by the game.
Because I'm just looking it up here. It says it's an engine building, engine losing tableau game.
You do more losing than building. Let me just say.
yeah.
So it's a silly game. Yeah. It's a silly fun game. So let me make sure I put that out there. There's definitely some strategy. There's definitely some engine building. At one point, I had it set up where like every time I got any food, I also got to take one population. And population is basically your life or your HP. As soon as you run out of population or one person runs out of population, they lose. The game ends. And then whoever has the most population wins.
Okay.
But basically, you're constantly just trying to like rebuild your population and just stay afloat. You're constantly just like, again, rope-a-dope. You're dodging, and you're trying to like just build as much as you can. So you're like every time I got a food, I would get a population, and then I had a couple of different ways to get food, and I had a couple of different like. And this is just at one point in the game. I had like a passive thing where every time I got. Every time I did an action, I got a food for free, which gave me a population. So I had like this little cascading engine thing going. But then as soon as, a certain card come up, I'd have to lose population. And the way it works is that you have a bunch of population tokens. But then not only that, if you run out of population tokens, every card in your tableau that you build has a population number on it, which represents an amount of people in your population. So if I run out of population tokens, I have to then destroy one of my buildings and cash it in for the population number printed on it. And then I have to pay the amount of population that I lost from that event, right? So basically it's just a deck of cards and you flip it over and it says, such and such an event has happened, lose 5 population. And then you flip the next one over and it says, you may trade in X amount of food for X amount of population. And then you flip the next one over and it says, you may do this and that. And basically, as the game goes along, more and more bad events get added to the deck. And you can also try to add good things to the deck.
Okay.
And everybody's contributing to that same deck, right?
Yep.
But ultimately, I want to say like more than 50% of the cards end up being bad. And you're constantly just like rope-a-dope, taking punches, taking gut shots, and just trying to survive. Keep your head above water. And it has this like zany 50s retro futuristic art style.
Yeah, I'm looking at the artwork. It's interesting. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not sure. Like I get where they're going for with that art style. And I guess they succeed in achieving that art style, but I still found it kind of ugly, and it's not really charming in any way for me. But I have heard the opposite argument that some people are loving the art and that
it's
kind
unique
of style.
for sure. It's something different.
It is, yeah. So it's fun. It is silly fun. I definitely liked it, and as long as you're not too precious about what you're building, if you can embrace that chaos, it's a fun one for sure. I had a good time.
Nice.
We'll keep going rapid fire here. Shelly kept telling me I got to play this game, The Estates. And she brought it, and we played it one night, probably way too late. But it was fun. It's basically an auction game where there's a whole bunch of like blocks on the board, and each block has a number on it, and they're all a bunch of different colors. And then whoever wins the auction the first time for a specific color, you own that color. So then every subsequent block that goes on to the city that you build or that gets built, period, belongs to you. And then you can stack the blocks one on top of the other. So if I win an auction, I put a red one out there, and then it's somebody else's turn to put out the whatever's being auctioned. So they choose one of the blocks, they put it out there, and then one at a time, everybody says what they want to bid for it until it comes back around to the auctioneer. And then whoever had the highest bid, the auctioneer has the choice of buying it for that price or allowing the last person who had the highest bid to purchase it. Yeah. And then you pay the auctioneer. So it's a closed economy. The money is just trading hands back and forth and going back and forth. And then that block, they can choose to put it wherever they want on the city. And if they can choose to put it on top of my red block. So if they put their blue block on top of my red block, that becomes a blue building. So whatever the highest
top
colored
level
block is.
Yeah.
So then maybe,
bird's eye view.
And then I mentioned there's numbers on each of these blocks. That's the value points wise of what that building is worth. So if I put down a red 6 and then Shelly buys a blue block and puts it on top and it's a 4, that's now a blue building worth 10 points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And then you could choose to auction off roofs.
So you have to remember what numbers are underneath, or can you check?
You can always just look. Yeah.
Okay.
You can always just look. Yeah. And it's not that many. There's like,
sure.
At the very end of the game, there's like maybe 10 total buildings, right? So there's also roofs that you can auction off, and the roofs also have numbers. And then as soon as a roof goes on top, that's the end of that building.
It's capped.
It's capped.
Right.
And then whatever the highest colored block is who owns that. And then the really neat
underneath
thing,
the roof. So the roofs aren't colored. That just
that's
caps
right.
it.
That's right.
So you can lock it in. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, and then the other neat thing is that there's 3 columns of buildings or rows of buildings, and only 2 of them will score. So as soon as a row is complete, it kind of gets locked in, and that'll score. As soon as the second row is complete, it locks in and it will get scored. And the last one that doesn't get locked in scores negative points for whoever owns those buildings.
Okay.
So you really like
reskin? I feel like it's a reskin of like a German game or something. Do you know if it's a real implementation?
I know nothing about this game other than like Shelly brought it and was telling me all weekend I have to play it because it's like it's like basically almost all player interaction, right? There's not that much going on the actual board. Yeah. It's all just people playing each other.
Yeah, which you typically like those types of games, right? So
maybe not quite to this extent where it's like right, because like when you talk about like social deduction games where it's only above the table. Not interested in those games at all. I don't want to just play the players. Yeah. I like the game to be mostly on the table, but there to be lots of interaction on the table. So this, I definitely loved this game. It was a blast, and I would definitely play it. It's very, very silly is maybe not the right word, but it's funny, right? Because like people are purposely grabbing colors in order to cause fights between others, or like because they really need to place that block in a specific row. Yeah. So
there's a lot of competition for those colors and dice. Take that. Yeah.
So it's really funny in that way, right? Like people are grabbing specific blocks, and I didn't pick up how to do that properly, but there was multiple times where either Shelly or Jack, who was also playing, another friend who was staying with us, would grab a block, and then Shelly and I would look at each other and be like, "Oh boy, here we go."
Yeah.
So it's a good time for sure, and
Cool.
very simple. You learn it in 5 minutes, and it's definitely good for a laugh. And there's a good amount of strategy there too.
Is this a higher player count or only 4 for this one?
I don't know. Let's see.
I'm asking. Maybe some of our listeners are curious too, but I'm certainly interested in.
It's a good one. I think Shelly mentioned that it's like
2 to 5. It
two to
says
five.
2 to
Yeah.
5, yeah.
It says
Okay.
best 4, which
4.
makes
And
sense. We played 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah, and I can definitely see any game with lots of player interaction. There ends up sometimes being an odd man out, right? When it's 3,
Right.
because 2 people end
4
up
is
with
more
maybe
balanced.
a shared goal, and that the third person kind of gets left behind. And me having never played this game before, that ended
You're
up
the
being
one left
me.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of knew what they were doing, and I only figured it out 3/4 of the way through, and it was too
Right.
late by that point. But
Right.
it's a very bright, colorful, cute game, and I would love to try this at 4 or 5 because I think it would be hilarious and a lot of fun.
Yeah. This one might be a good addition to our cafe, so I might look for this one. Pick it
Yeah,
up.
I don't know how available it is. I think offhand, Shelly mentioned that it's tough to get, but not sure. Not sure
Let's
about that.
see if we can find it.
Yeah, so shout out to Alan Fullerton, part of the Gamecasters community there, just one of the dudes that is always around. Super great guy. And the reason I say that, not only because he's a great guy, but he did me a big favor. Castle Combo is a game that kind of got hot recently that you couldn't get it in Canada. I tried to pick it up. It became available, I think, on one of the main online retailers. And by the time I logged in to try to purchase it, it was sold out. But I noticed that within the group on Discord, a lot of people were talking about having played it, and I played it the other night and this and that. And I'm like, is it just widely available in the States? So I did a little bit of research, and it was. So I asked the community, I said, if anybody has a chance to pick it up, I'll PayPal you, I'll bring you cash, whatever you want. I'd like to pick up this game.
Nice.
So Alan Fullerton the next day said, I got a copy for you.
Sweet.
So yeah, shout out Alan. Thanks for that. And
That's more of a light family game, right?
Yeah. It's a tableau builder. There's 2 rows of cards that you can kind of draft from and purchase. And you have, you start with X amount of money. And then if you run out of money and there's nothing you can buy, you can flip the card over and put it face down in your tableau. It doesn't do anything for you, but it kind of replenishes your resources. It gives you $6, and it gives you a key. And there's this token, this wooden messenger, I think it's called. And it's either sitting in the row of silver cards or sitting in the row of gold cards. And then you have to draft from that row, whatever he's sitting on. But if you use a key, you can move him to draft from the other row. Okay, the keys are also worth points at the end of the game. So if you want to hang on to them if you can.
Gotcha.
But other than that, it's a fairly straightforward tableau building where you're building a 3x3, like a 9-card grid. Or tableau, and then the cards will say and each card has a bunch of symbols on them. There's the silver cards and the gold cards, as we talked about, but they also have shields on them that are either military or I don't even know what the other ones are, but there's red, yellow, purple, a bunch of different colors. And then they each score in a certain way that'll say score X amount of points for each purple card in this row.
In a row or call.
And each purple card in this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it might say score X amount for each purple in this row and column, or score X amount of points if you have no military cards in your tableau at the end of the game. And they also have an immediate effect. So when you buy a card, they'll say grab a couple keys for each X amount of card you have in your tableau. Or if this card's neighbor has a red shield, gain $5. So, anyways, there's all these combos that you're trying to do. So it's very satisfying, really, really quick. Plays in like 15 minutes. You're slamming cards down, pulling off all kinds of combos, and it's pretty fun.
Cool.
I played one game of it, so I can't talk about it much more than that. I had a good time my first game. It was 2 players, so it was quick, in and out, and one I think I want to try to play with Charlie. But it's a good one, I think, to even bring for if you're playing with people that are a little bit more casual gamers. I think that would work too. And the art is very cute and very fun.
Nice. That's Castle Combo. Okay.
Yeah, we played Sausage Sizzle. I think I talked about it on the pod before.
You did.
It's a super fun game. It's a push your luck, and it's a kind of a push your luck all or nothing kind of game, where if you go for sausages, you're either like you hit them and you get a ton of points, or you just miss by the tiniest little bit and you get almost no points. And it's just a fun one where everybody at the table, and like this is something that started in the Gamecasters community, but every con and everything that I've been to, basically what happens is as soon as somebody's going for the sausages, everybody at the table starts to chant wiener. So everybody goes wiener, 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 and then they roll the dice, and if they get a wiener, it's like everybody's jumps up and celebrates, and if not, it's like oh, and then they try to roll again, wiener, wiener. So anyways, we were doing that, and it was a lot of fun because we were playing with a bunch of the kids too, like Charlie and some of the other kids. So it was a good time. So Sausage Sizzle's a cheap little fun game that you could bring to any game night, and it's a fun time and it's funny. Okay, and finally played Bus. So I had Sam and his wife Michaela. Sam specifically asked me before coming to the con to bring Bus, and he wanted me to teach it to him and Michaela. And Swoozle, a gentleman who I don't even know his real name, traveled from Austria to come to Nerdfest. He's been part of the community.
You want to go to Essen? Or?
He's been part of the community, like a big part of the community for a long time, and awesome. Finally decided to okay, I'm going to come meet everybody, right? Because again, this is a group of friends, and he's able to kind of finally come and meet everybody in person. Super great guy. Everybody was awesome with him. He mentioned, prior that he's a little bit anxious and maybe a little social anxiety. He mentioned so many times how happy he was about how gracious everybody was with him and inviting, and there was never a moment where he's kind of sitting alone, not knowing what to do or just wandering around. Everybody's constantly inviting him to play games and hang out and whatever. And it's just kind of a feel good situation with him. And so he played Bus with us as well. I invited him to sit down and had a great time playing Bus with Sam, Michaela, and Swoozle. And we talked about Bus a few times on the pod, so we won't get too much into it. So I think that's all the games that I played.
That's a good list, man. That's a solid couple of days there. Did Charlie have a favorite experience or game?
Yes.
We should have him here with us. We'll have to do a little mini interview with Charlie.
Yeah, maybe I will at some point. Yeah. Charlie. So they had a painting corner where painting minis. Cool. And a local store, I believe, donated a whole bunch of minis, and they had a whole bunch of paints there. Charlie loves arts and crafts and painting and stuff like that, but never painted any minis before. So he got hooked and spent hours and hours painting minis, which was really cool.
You're gonna have to have a corner of your house devoted to that.
Oh boy, it's a whole other thing.
Well, watch out.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if he wants to do that. He's gonna have to be the one that drives that because it won't be me. So he did a lot of that. When I mentioned we played Thunder Road Vendetta Carnival of Chaos, Charlie participated in that. Nice. That's one of his favorite games. He absolutely loves it. Oh, yeah. And then on the last day, it was we had an 8-hour drive ahead of us, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, we'll leave by noon or 1 o'clock so that we can get back. And we're going to do it in one shot on the way back. And it just happened on Sunday that he didn't get to play anything, right? Because there's only certain games that he can play as an 8-year-old. And Sunday was a lot quieter, right? Not as many people as Friday and Saturday. And so he did a little bit of painting, and he maybe played some kids games with other kids, but he didn't get like a fun, really great experience on the Sunday. And he was basically begging me. He's like, can we just play one more game of Thunder Road? You know, it's a game that doesn't play great at 2. And Charlie and I often are just the 2 of us playing games at home. Yeah. And there's just like tons of people there that are ready and willing to play games. So he's like begging me, like, can we just play a game of Thunder Road Vendetta? I'm like, okay, let's like set it up quick while I'm finishing this other game. And then like, we'll try to get a game in before we go. So ended up staying a lot later than I wanted to. But we set up a game of Thunder Road Vendetta, and then 3 other kids, I think they were mostly a little bit older than him, probably in the 10 to 12 range, came over and said, what's this and whatever. And Charlie had been interacting with some of these kids before. And so I said, well, do you guys want to play like the 4 of you? It's a 4-player game when you play the race mode. And so I said, like, do you guys, like, I'll set it up, I'll teach, make sure everybody knows how to play, and then you guys can play, the kids. So yeah, they had like a 4-player game of Thunder Road Vendetta with like 4 kids under between the ages of, I want to say 8 and 12 or something like that, 8 and 13. Nice. And then I sat next to them so I could answer questions and help out here and there. And I played some other games with some other friends. And the kids were just like laughing and yelling and screaming and like taunting each other and had a great time. And when I had asked Charlie what his favorite moment of the con was, it was that playing Thunder Road with the other kids. So yeah,
that's awesome. Nice. Creating family experiences, family memories. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you cross over the border and you're back in Canada, they ask you, what are you declaring? What are you declaring, Matt? What'd you pick up? What'd you buy? What'd you smuggle back into the country?
Just honestly, with the political climate as it is, I was a little bit conflicted with actually going over the border, right?
Sure.
And I knew that like I was going to a safe space, with the gaming community and all of these people that I know very well. And I know just generally the gaming community is so inviting and accepting and like, inclusive, right? So I knew there'd be no concerns with that.
Sure.
But just as a matter of principle, I didn't want to spend a bunch of money. Like I know a lot of people are canceling their trips to the US. And, Leanne and I discussed like, depending how things go, we're probably not going to be going over to the US until things maybe change a little bit and cool down. So I was a little bit conflicted about going, but again, I was primarily going to visit with really good friends and for the community.
Absolutely.
So I just told myself I was going to pay for the con tickets. I was going to pay for my food and my accommodations, but I wasn't going to spend any other money otherwise.
Yep.
And so other than picking up Castle Combo from Alan Fullerton, again, thank you, Alan, I didn't spend any money on games over the border, but we did have to drive through Toronto to get there. And so we stopped at Board Game Bliss, we stopped at 401 Games, and we stopped at Game Shack.
Did the whole circuit there. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, because obviously I wanted to do a little bit of shopping and had saved up some money to...
Yeah, we must have just missed each other like 2 ships passing in the night, because I was in Detroit last week, just before the con. It was my birthday, and I went down with my son in front of his to see a basketball game. And same, we're kind of conflicted, but I had pre-bought all this stuff months and months ago, so we went and had a good time, just a quick in and out as well. So yeah, we both got to hit Detroit area in the last week, so that's cool. Nice.
Yeah, so I did pick up a handful of games. So Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game I picked up.
Oh, you did pick it up? Cool. I want to try that for sure. That's the one I'm probably most intrigued to try that you mentioned. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's do it. Castle Combo we talked about.
Yep.
And then some other ones that I picked up was Last Light. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but it's designed by Roy Canaday, who's one of the Dice Tower guys.
Dice Tower guys, yeah.
So I heard some, mixed reviews on this. I heard a lot of people loved it. It's basically like a 4X game, but kind of more of an entry level to that genre. So it's not quite as heavy or as long as a lot of those games are. But it still gives you those feels but plays in like an hour or two.
Yes, you haven't played it yet. Then you just picked it up.
I have not played it yet. Yeah.
Okay.
But so I've heard mixed reviews. I'm not huge on 4X games, but if I could play a 4X games that plays in a lot shorter time, and this is obviously space themed, so that hits big for me as well. And if you look at any of the images, this game is gorgeous. It has these like 3D planet balls that are on little stands, and then there's a mechanism in the game where there's rings that rotate. And so I mean, I'll post some pictures as we talk about it here. But if you want to, if you're listening to this, definitely Google Last Light board game. It looks gorgeous.
There's one of the characters, Leanne. There you go.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Wife. Yeah, it's like Groot. Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. Yeah. So
for those
just
watching the video, for those listening, you know nothing about this. You got to look up the images though. They're pretty sick looking graphics, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I just thought like I got it on sale, and as an artifact, I thought it'd be a cool one to own. So definitely looking forward to trying that out. I picked up Nar. Which is Knarr.
Yes.
It is a Viking themed game. I think it's a little tableau building card playing game. I know almost nothing about it, but I heard good things and it looks really beautiful. Yeah, I've heard good things about that one
as well. Yeah.
So I picked that up. Acropolis is another one I picked up. Again, have not played this, but it is a city building tile laying game in the vein of like Carcassonne or Cascadia, that kind of thing. But you can build it up. So when you play a tile down, the next tiles you play, you could layer on top basically. And then
kind of like a mahjong style,
yeah. And as they layer, they like combo and score and stuff like that. That's literally all I know about it. It just looked cool and is one that I thought I could maybe play with Charlie as well. I mentioned Charlie a lot. I also have a 5-year-old named Remy. He's just a little too small yet to be playing these games.
3 more years, you'll be bringing them both to Nerdfest. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I'll have to drag my wife along to at that point because managing 2 kids. A big con like that. Yeah, I don't know.
It's easier.
I borrowed Hive from a friend like months and months and months ago. Played a couple games with Charlie. He absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, never ended up picking it up. And so Charlie actually purchased Hive with his own money.
Nice.
Yeah, this weekend. So we'll be getting that one to the table. Boop the Halls. Does that mean anything to you?
Halls.
Boop the Halls. Does that mean anything to you, Jason?
Is it a character in Krampus?
No. You just can't help but bring up Krampus in every episode. So Boop is a game about cats on a bed. It is a 2-player game. And
I'm looking it up. Does this game exist?
It does exist.
Are you making this up?
Yeah, so basically, apparently a really good 2-player strategy game where like you're moving cats around on this bed and there's different layers and the cats get booped off the bed and you score points. I don't know much about it.
It's a Christmas game. We gotta, let's note to self, this will be our Christmas episode.
Yeah, maybe. So Boop it's just called Boop.
Right.
But then there's like a Boop Halloween version. It's called Boop. And then there's now Boop the Halls. So we won a draw and we got Boop. We got to go up and pick a game from a handful of games on the table.
3D.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fun.
So it actually looks cool. It looks good.
It looks cool on the table.
And I'm excited for it. So
cool.
Boop the Halls is another one that we picked up. And finally, I picked up a copy of Hanamakoji. Does that mean anything to you?
It's one of the best 2-player games.
Yeah. So it's a game that's been on my...
amazing.
So you have played it?
Yeah, this is an amazing game.
So you tell me about it.
This, so
I know I hear it's a great game, and I love 2-player games.
Scythe Viticulture designer swears by this game for years. It's in his top 10.
Oh, okay.
So I finally played it. We should get it to the table soon. It's a lot of fun. It's got some good strategy, but not too heavy. But just hits that sweet spot for me. So yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things, so I picked it up. It's been on my list for a long time, but it's been really hard to get. And today on the way back, we stopped at Game Shack, and I saw it there for $20, so I picked it up.
Wow, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's all the games I picked up. I thought I'd run through them and talk about them real quick. But yeah, I'm excited to get all these games to the table. Had an amazing time at Nerdfest once again. If you go check out my Instagram, Dice Camera Action Pod, I posted a bunch of pictures and a story or a reel. A reel. I'm not very good at Instagram, but I posted a reel with a bunch of pictures of the games and stuff that I played. So check that out. And yeah, that's my kind of quick recap episode of Nerdfest.
Nice. And as we maybe dive into some of those games you mentioned, maybe we can do fuller conversations about the ones that sort of hit that sweet spot for us down the road. So stay tuned. All right.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Nerdfest, maybe I'll be able to tag along with you next year too. It's not too far away. And
yeah, I love that.
March, it's a good time. So it sounds like a great. I love the fact that it's not like, as much as Gen Con is appeal, it's like that 300, 400 people, it just kind of feels more intimate, right? You really get to build those relationships. That's what I'm really taking away from just listening to you is that, yeah, the game experience is great, but the community that's being built,
that's the draw for me. Like this is literally,
the draw, right?
This is literally my favorite con. Like I've been to a handful of these like big conventions. This is my favorite. It's like tiny, but it's because I get to see like a bunch of my friends, right? And people that I only see a couple times a year, people from all over Canada and the US and Austria. But
there you
go, it's a great time, and yeah, it'd be amazing if you joined me next time around. We try.
What's
to make
the equivalent of Nerdfest in Austria? We'll have to go there one year.
Yeah, maybe I'll tap Swizzle on the shoulder and
ask
him.
You start your own there. Yeah, amazing. That's awesome, man. So thanks for sharing about all these games, and thanks for sharing your experiences. And yeah, you should tap Charlie on the shoulder. I'd love to make a reel with him and get his impressions there.
Yeah, maybe I'll do a little
show off some of the minis that he's painted or whatever. Yeah, that's cool. Just great father-son time. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, we had a blast. I can't wait for Remy to be a little bit older. He plays some games with us with a little bit of help in that, but he's still a little small and he's not as into games as much as Charlie is.
He'll grow into it, I'm sure too.
For sure, yeah. He'll have no choice.
Oh man! Well, just give him a choice which hockey team he cheers for, right?
that's not an option in my house either.
Chorus of parenting with Matt Cousineau. Right.
That's right.
Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks for I'm taking notes here as I'm listening. I got a few games on my list now, so I'll be making a few trips to Southern Ontario or a local game store here in the near future, and looking forward to getting some of those to the table. So thanks to all our listeners. Thanks again for tuning in to Dice Camera Action. We'd love to, as always, hear your feedback and recommendations. If there's any games that you're enjoying that you'd like us to get to the table, in the description on all of our episodes on Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, you can see where you can reach out and contact us, give us your feedback, any games and movies that you'd like in future episodes, let us know. But until then, I'm Jason Tripp, Matt Cousineau. Thanks so much for being here with us today at Dice Camera Action, and we'll be back soon with another episode. Take care.
Cheers.